So I was originally going to talk about something else, but then it really wasn't significant compared to what happened now, so I changed what I'm talking about. For a long time, I was really behind in my reading, and I decided that I was behind because God wanted me to be behind. Over spring break, I couldn't put my devotional down. I just kept reading and reading until I was finally caught up, and then I was actually really sad when I got down to only one a day again. So throughout this, I'm going to share my experience on March 20th and the days that follow. Mr. Adam, can you put up the picture? That is Jalen Willie, my best friend. That is the girl I fell in love with. And she changed my life. So I wanted to start at the beginning of, day 82. It read, "Trust in me in times of confusion, when things don't make sense and nothing you do seems to help." The time I'm going through right now is really confusing, and I don't know why God let this happen, but He's finding a good way to let people know about Him through this experience. When the shooting happened, I was in my first period class. We were all confused because he just said lockdown, and so we didn't know what was happening. We went into the back room of the band room, so it was within our classroom. So we couldn't hear anything because of all the blocks and everything, so we couldn't hear anything. So all we knew was rumors that people were texting everybody. I wasn't really scared then because I felt safe where I was, and I was trusting God throughout the panic and confusion, and I can't even tell you how many times I prayed. Back there, I prayed with one of my friends, and people were having panic attacks and freaking out, and I was just really calm and trying to help everybody and make sure they were okay. And that was before I knew that Jalen had got shot. I felt really close to God at those moments when I was back there. But the moment I found out it was Jalen, there was a sudden rising of fear and sadness and worry, and I couldn't even pray anymore. I just didn't know what to do. I didn't even want to think about praying. I went numb, and finally, once I was able to pray again, it didn't help with any of the confusion or of all the questions running through my head. Was it really her? Did she really get shot? Out of anyone in the school, why her? The devotion goes on to say that to invite me into your struggles, to be ever so close to you. While I was in that back room, I had no idea what was happening, and all I could do was pray, but I felt God's arms wrapping around me, and I felt as safe as I could in the situation that was at hand. As I prayed, that's how I invited God into my struggle, the struggle of not being in fear, too much fear, and the struggle of being in a school shooting and not knowing exactly what was happening, if I was safe at that moment, when it would be over. I went to the hospital to see Jalen, so while I was there, staying as close to her side for as long as I could, I tried to remember to let God in and comfort me, as I found out that she wouldn't make it. Hearing that was the most difficult thing ever. Even though it was hard to feel it with all the pain of heartbreak I was feeling, I knew He drew ever so close to me to comfort His child, which He does to everybody. I'm grieving the tragic loss of my best friend, and every day I have to remind myself to invite God into my struggle of overcoming the grief and not letting it suck me in. Each day I'm finding it a little easier to smile and not fake it till I make it. It's important to invite God into your struggles so you grow with Him through the struggle and don't let it defeat you. Because with God, we can rise above anything. Towards the end, it says, "Trust that there's a way forward, even though you can't see it yet." I definitely can't see a way forward yet, but I know there is one. And even though it gets slightly better each day, it still feels like this won't end. In the halls, I find myself looking for her and anxiously awaiting the everyday, "Macy, Macy, Macy," as she comes running up to my locker to go to lunch with me. It seems like the darkness won't end, like the grief will always be there, even though in the back of my mind I know it will end. If you trust God and invite Him into your struggles, He will help you see that eventually it will end and that He really does care for you. So even though I can't see the way forward, I can have peace and in my trusting that it will get better with time and that God is comforting me right now. It says, in the devotional, it says, I'm with you, watching over you continually. I know that that day God was watching over me, my school, and Jalen as she was fighting to hold on. God was watching over her in the hospital, and me and all of my swim teammates while we were at the hospital by her side. And he's still watching over me, my school, and our community today. The very last two sentences of the devotional of that day said, when the road is rough, cling all the more tightly to me. As your soul clings to me, my right hand upholds you. The last sentence is Psalm 63:8, which is, my soul clings to you, your right hand upholds me. When David wrote Psalm 63, he was in a disastrous circumstance that was out of his control. Not only I and my school, but our community suffered something that was out of our control. So now more than ever, we need to cling tightly to the Lord. When I was at the hospital with Jalen, her healing was out of my control. So I prayed to the ultimate physician with all my might, even when they said she wouldn't make it. That day was really rough, but I just kept clinging to Jesus like a child clings to their mother when they're hurting. And I prayed and prayed and prayed while I stood by her side, never letting go of her hand. Even though it's still hard, I can still feel God lifting me up in this circumstance, holding me closely to his chest. This wasn't in the devotional, but I thought I'd add it anyway, just so you guys could see how God's working through this. God doesn't let anything go to waste. Even though this was tragic and obviously not ideal, God will find a way to work this evil for his good, and he already has. On Monday of this week, the athletic department of Great Mills High School invited all the athletes at the school to go to the movie theater to see a movie. We didn't know what we were going to see until we got there. Out of any movie they could have chosen, they played I Can Only Imagine. And that movie screams Christianity. So I was really excited because every single teenager who was there that day got exposed to the message of Jesus Christ. And I just pray that that will soften somebody's heart and they'll come to Jesus through this. There are comfort dogs at school right now, and they're from a Christian organization. And so everybody's being touched by these dogs, not only because they're comforting, but the word of God is around them. Because one of the dogs, her name was Sasha, they brought her to the swim room because that's where we all go for lunch, and it was our first day yesterday without Jalen for lunch. So they brought Sasha there, and her last name is 3 John 1:5. So everybody was asking, what is that? What is that? So that verse says, dear friends, you are faithful in what you are doing for the brothers and sisters, even though they are strangers to you. These dogs can't really comprehend what they're doing for us, but they are helping so much in our time of need, and little do they know that they're exposing all the students of Great Mills High School who are choosing to skip class to go see the dogs. They're exposing them to Jesus Christ, and even though this is so hard to go through, I'm just happy that God is finding a way to work his good through this. That's all.